and be different. I grew up, my grandparents, they both came to the U.S. Basically avoiding death. So on one side, it was my one grandfather came over who was wanted dead or alive for speaking out against the Tsar. On the other side, the grandfather came over, and 2 or 3 years later, they rounded everyone up in the town. The Nazis came in, machine gunned them all, and burned them in this little enclave. So I grew up with American exceptionalism, and it is the greatest force for good in the world. And it lets individuals, it is still a remarkably unique experiment that lets individuals determine what they want to do, determine their own course of government, and this whole notion of by the people, I think, is at risk unless we really impose some of our traditional values of freedom in business and not having elites in Washington who don't understand, I don't want to use a bad term, don't understand much
right.
About how to run lots and lots of businesses in Michigan. And they want to direct them from Washington, and they've never been inside one. They don't understand them, like Debbie. She's never had a private sector job. But yet, they're going to tell us how to run the business. And they think they're doing good things, but time and time again, they get it wrong with unintended consequences. So let me take a specific example in what I call means-tested entitlements, sort of the food stamps, the energy assistance, Section 8 housing. There are 126 means-tested entitlement programs. So what have they done? They have hurt, in my mind, most of the people that they've been trying to help because they reach out and say, we're going to fund you based on household income. So what's happened is in the poorer communities, dads have been driven out of houses. And in Detroit, which I'm acutely aware of, you're in the 70s and 80% for single-family children being born into single-parent households. Because the dads are driven out of the households by a lot of these programs. It's not that they intended to drive the dads out. They're just not thinking. We got to change those entitlement systems to be springboards to work, not to encourage people to stay in dependency and despondency. Work is incredibly fulfilling. It provides purpose and meaning, and people want to work. And what Trump's done by driving the economy, cutting the taxes, increasing depreciation rates so that there's big capital expenditures, you're getting people that were out of the workforce, out of the labor force participation, coming back into the workforce. Unemployment's at its lowest level in minority communities, in most of them ever, and that's what's really the story. It's not, we called something a bad name. No, we're giving opportunity, purpose, and meaning to people. Yep. And it's an incredibly liberating and important thing that's going on in the country.
So I take it you are pro-Trump.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
So let me caveat.
Well, hold on, Sandy.
He might go down on his policy levels. I think Donald Trump has been not good, but spectacular.
Oh, good to hear.
Some of the personal issues, do they bother me from time to time? Sure. But that's what got him elected. People wanted a bull in a China store, and he's breaking things up. It's not easy.
Okay. So, Sandy, I've got a question from a caller for you, and I can preface this by saying, with your background in business, successful background in business, with your background in education, and also now with your law degree, caller Joe from Wyandott's got a question for you on Debbie and a possible debate. Derek, you want to bring Joe on? Go ahead, Joe.
Thank you. I have several concerns. One, his former pro-choice stance. I think he's just a Pleno now. His prior stance for single-payer health care. But, yeah, I was calling about debates, and it has more so to do with a GOP primary debate. Why is Sandy Pensler afraid to debate Bob Carr? Is he afraid his political...
Oh, that's wonderful. Look, if you're working for Bob, that's great. I'm not afraid to debate anybody. When the debates are appropriate, which is, I think, when people are in closer to the election. People have registered and shown that they can get the signatures needed to get on the debate so that we don't waste a lot of time with candidates that have neither funds or the ability to get on the ballot. I'm happy to debate the candidates.
Okay, so you'll be up for debates both in the primary and more importantly, even against
more importantly
Debbie.
in the general, because what Debbie's been able to do is she's run away from her record in prior elections. So she's avoided running on her record. She's put out ads and she talks about legislations that she's authored because she hasn't gotten anything enacted. Well, my 14-year-old daughter can author legislation. It doesn't mean it's going to be enacted. It probably has a better chance of being enacted than some of the stuff that Debbie puts on her website that she's authored. So she runs to the right and tries to present herself as a low taxation, low regulation candidate. I authored this bill when the reality couldn't be further from the truth, and I will hold her to her record, which has been just the Schumer Pelosi backer that she always is.
Yeah.
She is constantly looking, just like she was yelling about CHIP funding. Well, when it came time to really have a CHIP funding extension for 6 years and keep the government going here, she didn't back it. Instead, she went for the shutdown.
She backed Schumer.
Played partisan politics, backed Chuck Schumer for this stopping of government services, did not back the continuing resolution, even though it was short term. Said, "Oh no, we got to
must be
illegal immigrants instead."
Right. Hey, look, we got a couple minutes.
To her record, I will have the funds, unlike other candidates in the past and others in the present that are trying to run, to hold her to her record. And that'll take a lot of funds because, as you can see, she's already raised $7.5 million, and she ran with 14 the last time and 12 the time before that when our Republican candidates, which were good candidates, Bouchard and Hoekstra, had 3 and 4 million.
We've only got a couple more minutes. I understand your contention about debating later, but right now we think 3 candidates: Bob Carr, maybe John James, who I don't see much of anymore, and then of course yourself. And if people are wondering, well, which horse am I going to back heading towards the primary? We need to know what these distinctions are. So I would like to see something done between the 3 candidates to help clarify, or basically you guys can go at each other's throats instead of us having to go at your throats.
I agree at some point. And look, the election, the primary is August, beginning of August, and I'm completely open for that. What I don't want to do is debate somebody who's not going to get the signatures and not get on the ballot.
Right. Well, so, I'm going to make this offer, Sandy. Bob Carr has offered we can do a roundtable, so it doesn't have to be like the formal debate in the gymnasium or something. If we can get you into the studio and we'll do a roundtable, me, you, Ed, and Bob Carr maybe, because John James is never. I don't think he's a serious candidate.
He's not returning calls.
He doesn't return any calls. I haven't seen him anywhere.
And I appreciate you taking ours, Sandy.
Yeah. So, and this show is always open to you, Sandy, to call into, or if you want to come sit and talk policy with us. And if we can get one more, Derek, do we have time to get Tom's tax question in? We've got a caller. Tom in Detroit's got a question on taxes for you, Sandy, if you can take it. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to make the comment on this new tax bill that is going into effect. The speculation is that now with the lower corporate rates, that our corporation will be competitive with other corporations overseas, with foreign corporations. And it's my understanding as soon as the rate was lowered, China lowered their rate to 0. And it goes to the whole idea of the direct taxation, where why can't we speculate that if we didn't use direct taxation, which was originally in the Constitution?
Tom, we're out of time. We're hitting the hard break. Sandy, you got a quick answer for that?
Quick answer is the changes we did will make corporate America much, much more competitive. We see the business.
Okay, all right.
Businesses giving their bonuses already and bringing back expenditures.
People are always on the go, driving to work, running errands. How do they keep informed? They listen to Wham Talk 1600 just like you. If you're a business owner, your message can reach these people wherever their travels take them. People tune to Wham Radio for the latest issues, discussed by hosts like Joe Pags, Fayron X, and Dana Lesh. And they'll stay tuned for your message as well. Call 734-971-1600 today and advertise your business with Wham Radio and whamradio.com. Whamradio.com.
Fox News Radio, I'm Karen McHugh. President Trump calling the government shutdown the Schumer shutdown, but the Senate Minority Leader begs to differ.
So here we are on the first anniversary of the president's inauguration, mired in the Trump shutdown. It doesn't have to be this way. We can get big things done.
New York's Chuck Schumer. Meanwhile, women's marches are happening in cities across the country. Why march?
I'm here because I have to be. Things have gotten way worse than I ever thought that they would. And I'm afraid that our government's being eroded and all the rights that I think a lot of us have taken for granted over the years need to be protected.
Politics aside, it's all about women and women's rights.
Those women on the Mall in Washington. Fox News. We report, you decide.
Your bridge to recovery and wellness is Wellbridge. Wellbridge is redefining the rehabilitation and nursing care experience with the most amazing care facilities you've ever seen. All Wellbridge locations offer a resort-like atmosphere, and their driving goal is to provide each guest with an epic experience. Here's former patient Evelyn Danielson from Brighton.
When I got into my room, there were happy faces welcoming me. The PT people there peeked around the door the next morning and said, "You're going to walk with us." And I said, "Oh, no, I can't." But I did. They don't push you. They lead you very kindly. And the next thing you know, you're doing it. They have a wonderful attitude.
For rehabilitation and nursing care, ask for something epic. Ask for Wellbridge. In Brighton, Fenton, Novi, and Pinckney. Now looking for talented nurses and certified nurse assistants to join their growing team, Wellbridge invites everyone to learn more about them at thewellbridgegroup.com. Wellbridge, your bridge to recovery and wellness starts here.
It's been 5 years since we met Kelly Brighton, just before her weight loss surgery.
I was almost 300 pounds. Because of the Michigan Bariatric Institute, I've lost the weight. I now have the tools to keep it off. I am a better mom, I am a better wife, and I'm just a better Kelly Brighton, I think.
Begin your journey. Try a free monthly educational seminar at St. Joe's Livingston. Visit stjoeshealth.org/MBI to learn more.
And welcome back. Thanks for tuning in to catch our drift. Joining me in studio, Ipsy Ed Bonderenka.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so we're supposed to have Tim calling in at 1:30, and I might have to have you go through that and tweet him text him for me. Go into text, and you might hopefully catch him in there. But anyway.
Password.
No password. Give me the back.
Yeah, okay. I'll talk. You text.
Yeah, so why don't you do our sponsor this half hour, and I'll see if I can put in
our sponsor this half hour. I can't even talk about our sponsor this half hour is Burroughs Roadhouse, established in 1928. You know, it's a destination place. It's one of those places you want to drive to go eat for the atmosphere, like a Frankenmuth. You know, someplace where, hey, the food's really good, but the atmosphere is really good. And it's a historical venue. And, you know, they've got comedy shows Friday nights. They got music comes up. They've got, Gary tells me they got great drinks, great bartender. In fact, Gary's going to tell you more about that right now.
Eric the bartender, yeah. Burroughs is one of those destination places, without a doubt, because they do comedy shows, they do music, and atmosphere is it's called Burroughs, right? Burroughs Roadhouse, because it was originally like part of the Burroughs Computer Corporation way back in the day, data entry or whatever it was back then. And they had this vacation type place for employees and family of the Burroughs Corporation. And over the years, it's evolved, whatever. And now it's a restaurant.